And action. Welcome to another amazing episode of the Action Podcast. We are on episode 64. And today we've got a little lineup here that we're excited about. We have No Hard Feelings, the new comedy starring Jennifer Lawrence, directed by Gene Stupnitsky, who directed The Good Old Boys, also from The Office fame. Next is Astraction 2, starring Chris Hemsworth, the sequel, of course, to what, Pete?
Astraction 1.
Yeah. Good job.
Although it was just called Extraction.
yeah, exactly. And then third, we have Asteroid City. We were able to get to that. And then lastly, Pete was able to see a movie called The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster. So we'll be Pete will be talking about that one. So with that, Pete, let's get into No Hard Feelings. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this one.
Well, why don't you take this one first?
Okay, sounds good. So
a little bit.
No Hard Feelings. So I saw this in theater. Just saw it, and overall, I had a good experience. We've talked about this before. Comedies in general are down. Movies that make you really laugh out loud or even push the envelope are just down in general. But I thought, especially with this director, Gene Stupnitsky, I thought he did a good job, and they pushed the envelope, and I enjoyed it. I like the humor. Again, it's definitely R-rated humor, and I thought the story had some heart to it. It's ultimately a story about friendship, and I thought they did a good job. I was curious where this movie was going to go at certain points. Just the way they set it up. I wasn't sure if it was going to go kind of more of a predictable line of thought or how it was going to play out. But and again, just for the audience to know, when I go into a movie, because I can literally, if I want to, I can pretty much dissect something really, really bad, and really take the joy out of watching something. So when I try and watch a movie the first time, I literally turn off my brain and just try and watch it. And so because I can predict the endings for the most part. I mean, there's clues and setups where you can pretty much kind of figure out, because you have to. That's the part of filmmaking, because being both a writer and director, I know how to do that. So when I watch these films, I turn my brain off and just watch it and just try and be an audience member. And so the crowd laughed, a lot of good laughter. Crowd was into it. I was into it. I wouldn't put it as high as Good Boys. The Good Boys, I think, really pushed the envelope, and I think The Good Boys is probably like one of the better comedies of the last 5 to even 10 years, maybe since 2013 or 14. So I don't think it's quite as high there, but overall, I thought it was good. I thought Jennifer Lawrence did a good job. And I saw an interview with her too. I think she doesn't consider herself really like a comedic actress. Now I think she's got a funny personality, but I think, she plays to her strength, and she doesn't, obviously she's a good actress, but she doesn't try too hard. Sometimes these movies can lean towards that. And I thought they just kind of put her in a position to succeed and let kind of the situations be comical, or, the situation be comical, but not try and force her to just be funny. And some of the side characters were funny too. The other rescue owner guy in the shop, he had some funny moments. I enjoyed him. Matthew Broderick, of course, was great in his role. Really
to see Matthew Broderick again.
Yeah,
I didn't recognize him at first. I did one of these. What is that?
Yeah,
is it Ferris?
No, I knew he was in this.
He's sneaky funny. Like he played that helicopter dad who's just oblivious to anything, and who at his core is just he's kind of a son of a bitch in a way.
Yeah,
he almost doesn't respect like his wife or his kid like at all. But you could tell that he's just worth like $1 billion, and so he's kind of able to act however he wants. I thought he played the role really well.
Yeah,
He
and
was funny.
I thought the setup was good in terms of, again, it's Matthew Broderick, but just him kind of setting up of what he wants from Jennifer Lawrence. I really like their back and forth. I thought that was a really good scene, really funny. But yeah, I would say my critique, and it's just with anything, is keep pushing the envelope. It still felt a little held back, in a way, and I think I think there probably need to be another kind of hard hitter, I think, when it came to the comedy, to make it like A level, like elite level. Because again, I'm just going over the ones, like the comedies that really kind of been dominating. Again, we're talking like the 2000s era,
Yeah.
Judd Apatow Prime, all that.
Yeah, if this had like a Bill Hader or a Will Forte or
Yeah, it needed
one
more
more
comedians.
like a real comedian in this, I think it would have been, it got a 6.8.
Yeah,
I think that this would have pushed it up, and it would have been like an amazing comedy.
yeah.
I agree. I mean, I do feel like it held itself back just a little bit. Um,
I think that's
but
it. I think you just nailed exactly what this film needed. Was just, again, I think everybody in it did good, but like you're saying, Bill Hader, like again, like forgetting Sarah Marshall, Bill Hader's a very small role, but Bill Hader is amazing, right? And
so good.
he elevates it so much. Is Leslie Mann in that? No, that's someone else.
No, but
Like forgetting Sarah Marshall, but then you have Paul Rudd, you have Craig Robinson. No, is Craig Robinson that? No, Craig Robinson's not in that one. Um,
no,
who else? Who else has little cameo roles in that movie? Um,
I'm blanking.
yeah, I'm blanking too. But again, Wedding Crashers. It's the same thing. You're little people. Other people have little roles in it, but they're huge home run hitters.
Right.
So people just come in, pinch hit a home run, and walk off. And I think,
You had that comment about what was the movie with Sebastian and Robert De
oh yeah,
Niro?
yeah, about my father. Yeah,
Yeah. Like, is this better than that? Or was that better than this? Because that one had that supporting cast, according to you, that came in and just absolutely crushed, right?
yeah.
So,
I think I laughed more in this one, but
hmm,
they're both kind of like right on the same level. They're both good. They're both really solid
solid.
comedies. But again, like I think both films didn't have, well, like I think Jennifer Lawrence is better than Sebastian Maniscalco in terms of acting, and
Better be
yeah.
an Oscar winner.
So I think you have, yeah, I think you have just different dynamics. Um, that was a really good question you just asked.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm obviously ill prepared to answer that off
Right.
the top of my head. Yeah, I think they have different dynamics. So I think the strength of About My Father was the supporting cast, and that's what really carried the film. And then it was in that way, like Sebastian Maniscalco and Robert De Niro, it didn't rely on them to be the comedy, right?
Right.
This is, they're like, again, the kid behind you, he did a great job.
Andrew
Sometimes,
Barth Feldman.
yeah, sometimes these roles, the kid is actually like awkward, like he's actually not a great actor, and they just don't perform very well. But this kid had really cool, awkward acting, if that makes sense. Like he had a cool vibe still to himself, even though
No.
he had his quirks, he had a nice little vibe to him.
No,
And
he was definitely, he played the role to perfection. He was as awkward as you can come. He played the role perfectly. There was a real sweetness to his performance and his personality. Um, there was an innocence to him. But then you saw throughout the course of the film, you saw that inside of him was absolute strength as well, right? And there was a man inside of him the entire time.
yeah,
Just needed, and that was the point of her being hired to sort of be his love interest, was to, and so she accomplishes her goal. Spoiler, sorry,
yeah,
if you couldn't have figured that one out by the trailer, then shame on you for going to comedies.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, this was, I didn't I didn't like bust out laughing with this film. I wasn't like rolling on the ground and just like pounding my fist on the ground, just laughing hysterically. I thought it was a really sweet movie. I thought it was well done. I thought Jennifer Lawrence, who is like one of my favorites, I think that she's gorgeous and she's a great actress. I think that her role, like you were talking about, is very akin to her real life personality, because when you see her in interviews and when she tripped on the way up to accepting an award or something, like the way she plays it off and the way she laughs and the way she kind of plays down celebrity and sort of her fame, and she is quirky in real life and she does have a really good sense of humor and she's playful. At least I'm not friends with her, but if I could bet my everything on it, I would guess that she is like that in real life, because that's what she kind of portrays. So I thought that her coming into a comedy like this, I had no fears about it. I mean, the only downside to this, if you want to call it a downside, is I'm all for nudity, but the scene where she was naked was really weird. Like it was just a weird scene, and it I don't know. I didn't like it, to be honest. I just didn't think it was I didn't think it was appropriate for the film. I think it took away from the film, to be honest.
It's a weird scene in the middle of that. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a bizarre scene, and I don't know. I was watching it like this. Like, what is this? Like, why? Whatever, but fine, it served a purpose. They set it up properly. I mean, this was a good story, right? It was told properly. They executed it. I thought the performances were well done. I just think it was missing that second hard-hitting sort of comedic actor or actress to come in and just like a Kristen Wiig or something. All of a sudden she's like the best friend or whatever. I think that would have been, not that woman, whatever her name is, didn't do a great job. I mean, she was very low key and very dry sense of humor, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
I think that this is a must see for the week. I think you should definitely go and see it. It's good.
Yeah, I thought it's a good time. If you like R-rated comedies, I think, like I said, this is as good as they get these days for sure.
But it didn't feel so R-rated, right? It didn't. Other than that nude scene, it was just like,
no. Really, I mean, there's a lot of the language for sure.
Yeah, I know, but it was done it was done almost like in a real life sort of way. Like,
by the way, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I prefer
it. My kids have heard me talk like this every day of their lives, right?
That's another issue, Pete. We're not going to delve into that in this podcast.
It just really seemed like I was watching a real life sort of story.
Yeah, I agree. I did like not brother-in-law, but the friend's wife or friend's husband. He was funny. He was probably the funniest side character besides probably the rescue kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's where this film could have taken. But again, you're dealing with budgets, and who knows? I would like to see them lean on some relationships, like, hey, bring your buddy on, small cameo. But again, like we're comparing it to like greats of all time, right? Like those are so. But I think again, it's going to be one of the top comedies of the year.
Probably.
It's better than some of the Netflix comedies we've seen. I mean, that's for sure.
It's funnier than Asteroid City.
There we go. Spoiler alert on here.
Spoiler
for that. All right, Pete. Well, let's move on. We gotta get through this. So next we have Extraction 2. I was not able to see this due to the wonderful on the across the country. But what was your thoughts?
Yeah, Extraction 2, sequel to Extraction 1, directed by Sam Hargrave, who did Extraction, the original, written by the Russo brothers, who seems we're seeming to find they really love this sort of action stunt driven sort of filmmaking at this point, at least being a part of these kinds of films. And this one does not disappoint. It, of course, stars Chris Hemsworth. Got a 7.1 so far on IMDb, and it's worth every second. And And the cool thing is, it's on Netflix. I mean, you don't even have to go to the theaters to watch an incredible film. And just like with the first one, you know, the director Sam Hargrave, who is a stuntman, that's what he's been doing for the better part of his career. You can tell in each of these sequences how much effort it takes. I mean, if you can imagine what it takes, like you've seen behind the scenes of like older movies where they do a car stunt where it just does a simple flip and lands on its top, or a guy jumping out of a building or something. Like the amount of setup time it takes to shoot that one shot is immense, right?
Yeah.
These stunt action sequences are so heavy, but they're not over the top. They really play amazingly well. They even have like these long sequences, almost like a Scorsese and Goodfellas, where you're just following along an entire. They're following along in like an entire room and just in one take, right? They have like one of those sequences as well, which is really good. This film is basically broken up into like three main sort of stunt action sequences, right? With the story kind of weaved in between. It's really well done. I think there was one sort of flaw in it, and it's at the beginning where, you know, he's basically clinging to life. The opening of the movie is clinging to life, and he's got to sort of rehabilitate himself slowly to get back to hopefully normal, not even like being his old extraction job.
Yeah.
But it just seems like overnight he's on a new mission, and that's my only downside to it.
Yeah, I think that's basically what I've seen. Yeah.
I'd have to see it again just to kind of see how that plays out. But this is action packed. This is an amazing film. It's a great time. I think it could have been absolutely elevated if it was in the theaters. I think if I saw this movie in the theaters, it would have just blown me away even more, because that's how intense it is. And let's not sleep on these action sequences. They are stunning.
Wow. Well,
the one of the train and the helicopter, that whole sequence is just like.
Well, you're selling me, Pete. I definitely want to check it out. I'll have some more time today. Again, I've had a hectic schedule, so unfortunately I've been able to see it, but
so good.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to that. Again, I think I love to hear when you love a movie.
A small shout, and I'm going to butcher this guy's name. The guy that plays the main villain, Tornike Gogriciani. He's so good as the villain. He's frightening. If I'm ever in some Eastern European city, like in the depths of,
you're not far, Pete. You're not far.
I'm not far from there right now. I'm coming to you live from Italy.
Yeah.
But if I ran into this guy in the street, I would pee my pants, and because I know that this guy would absolutely destroy me without even like thinking twice about it. I think that if you are looking for a movie villain in your movies coming up, you need this guy in your movie. If you want somebody that is intense, who plays the role and can whoop some major ass at the same time. So
I like it.
He's amazing.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's move on to Asteroid City. This is, of course, directed by Wes Anderson. And all I know about this movie is the premiere was like the premiere of all premieres. Everybody was there.
Everybody's in it.
Yeah, everybody's in it. I mean, this is what this guy's known for. He's essentially kind of like the new Woody Allen in a way, where everybody wants to be in his films. They love working on it. It's like an actors and an industry film for sure. I did not see this. Of course, I've taken the Peter role in this podcast.
Yeah, we've switched roles.
Yeah, we're
like vice versa.
Yeah. Yes, I'm Judge Reinhold and you're Kevin
Savage.
Fred Savage. Kevin Fred Savage. Yeah.
Kevin Arnold.
Yeah. So go ahead, Pete. What was your thoughts?
Asteroid City. I mean, listen, if you love Wes Anderson films, this got a 7.1 on IMDb. If you love Wes Anderson films, I think that you're going to absolutely enjoy it. I don't know enough about him as a director. and about his storytelling, and about the messaging that he tries to portray with his films. So I will hold off on any sort of comments until I kind of know more about Wes Anderson. I personally did not understand this film one bit. I thought the individual performances by the 50,000 famous, not just like whatever famous actors, but like A-list stars. I thought they individually did really well. I mean, I believe that these were their characters. I just thought the story itself, it was just so bizarre. So basically, like this grieving father played by Jason Schwartzman, who was really good, but very low key. He and his family, the wife just died. He hadn't told the kids yet. So they're driving to this place, this asteroid city, because they're doing like a science fair. And each of these kids, his kid is doing is in the contest for like coolest invention, scientific invention or whatever. And then I won't tell you what happens after that, but it just gets increasingly bizarre. It's just an awkward watch because you really feel uncomfortable because of the pace, I guess. And I think that's my problem with it in a way, is that the pace of it was just so, like, it took a long time to get somewhere.
Yeah, that's his style for sure.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'm supposed to be, as I'm watching it, because I'm like, I get like 25, 30 minutes in, and I'm noticing this pace, and I start panicking because I'm like, did I just miss the in between the lines kind of messaging going on, at the beginning of this film? Like, and so I just got kind of distracted by it. Scarlett Johansson's in it, who plays a really subdued role. Tom Hanks is in it, and his role is rather subdued. Edward Norton is in it. Adrian Brody's in it. And they all have like these really and that was the problem. Everyone is very low key to match along this sort of low key pace at the same time. Their performances were really good. Oof, man, like, I don't know. I don't understand it. I think if you love him as a director, I think you'll love this film.
Yeah.
I'm very happy that I didn't see it in the theaters, to be honest, because I think I would have left there quite upset.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to see it in theater or not. I might go see Indiana Jones again. I've got some time today where I want to see another film, and
I would see Indiana Jones.
I think I'm going to see Indiana Jones again. Spoiler alert, I've already seen it as the recording. We're filming the other podcast tomorrow, so that one will come out early next week. But and also spoiler alert, I'm a big I enjoyed where the movie went. So
you're a huge fan so far.
Okay, well let's get into your last one and wrap it up.
Last one, wrap it up.
Yeah, so Pete also saw a movie called The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster.
Well, yeah, I saw a poster for it, and I was like, that looks interesting. So it's directed by Bomani J. Story, and it stars Laia De Leon Hayes. It didn't get great numbers, not box office. I'm talking about ratings. It got a 5.1. So basically, this girl is a young Black teenager who is brilliant. She's like next level smart. And she believes that death is a disease. Her brother gets brutally murdered in front of her, and she wants to bring him back to life. And she figures out a way to cure his death, right? Now, based on the title, you can kind of guess that he comes back as sort of a monster and cannot be controlled in a way. It has elements of like a horror thriller and a element of like the way it's portrayed, the way the story is told, because they grow up in such poverty in like an inner city sort of it's just gritty. It's a gritty film, and I thought that it was really well done. And I'm just giving it a little bit of a shout. Like, if you have a chance to see it, I mean, I would give it a shot. It's not a horrible watch. I thought that it was a very well done movie. I felt like I was in the situations that they were in. there's just an element of realism to it that I just can't really kind of explain. And I thought I would do better with this review. However, despite its rating, I think it's worth a watch.
Awesome. We'll take that for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's good. Again, that's the point of this podcast, is maybe we can see stuff that other people haven't. Maybe you catch it streaming, or you're able to see it. Is it in theaters or?
Yes.
Okay.
So it might be limited, but
awesome. Well, with that, Pete. So again, obviously, so next podcast, obviously the big film, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, directed by James Mangold, of course, and written by a ton of people, to include David Koepp, who wrote, I believe, Last Crusade and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull too, right?
No, but we don't talk about that one.
Yeah, but still the same writer though, so that's always like, it's good to know.
Bold move.
That's the big one. All eyes are going to obviously be on that movie. Is it going to, how well is it going to perform? I know the projections are, I don't think, as high as people want it to be, but we'll see. Yeah. So we're looking forward to that. And
I'm really hoping they don't do a passing of the torch like they tried to do with Crystal Skull. Like, what's his name?
No. Everyone's gone on record to saying that this is the last one. So I don't know if even they're trying to do a spin-off or anything. I mean, there's no succession plan in place. So this isn't like Star Wars where they're planning universes and all that stuff. So
good.
Awesome, Pete. Well, thanks for tuning in. Everybody, make sure you like and subscribe and share. And again, we have more movies on the whatever. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Docket. Yeah, there we go. We got more movies on the docket. Obviously, the summer's just getting started. Mission Impossible still coming up as well. That's the only one that can come to my head. But yeah, stay tuned. More amazing reviews, and we'll also talk about classic films as well. We're gonna get going on that as well. But thanks for tuning in. And with that, Pete, that is a cut. Thanks, guys.